In 1991, the most wanted man on earth offered to turn himself in to the police. But Pablo Escobar had one non-negotiable condition. He would only serve time in a maximum security prison that he designed, built, and guarded himself. To understand how a sovereign government agreed to this, you have to look at the state of Colombia in the late 1980s. Escobar and the Medellin Cartel were waging an all-out war against the state, funding assassinations, bombing commercial airplanes, and paying bounties for the murder of police officers. The violence was driven by a single fear. Escobar was terrified of being extradited to the United States, where his billions of dollars and vast political influence would be completely useless in a federal cell. By 1991, the country was bleeding to death. The exhausted Colombian government offered a treaty. If Escobar surrendered and stopped the violence, they agreed to legally ban the extradition of native-born citizens. The Colombian government accepted a profound humiliation. They willingly forfeited the judicial authority, trading absolute power for the mere illusion that they had Escobar under control. Escobar secured a location overlooking the Aburrá Valley in his hometown of Envigado, specifically a high-altitude mountain peak he already owned. The facility he constructed there, known as La Catedral, spanned a sprawling, multi-story brick footprint nestled into the green jungle. From above, the grounds resembled a luxury country club rather than a penitentiary. The extreme elevation was a precise tactical decision. The high-altitude vantage point provided a 360-degree view, allowing anyone inside to spot military helicopters miles before they could reach the summit. The perimeter was secured by the Colombian military, but their presence created a bizarre dynamic. Rather than keeping Escobar contained, these soldiers effectively served as publicly funded bodyguards, ensuring rival cartels could never get close. The physical layout and geographic isolation achieved the exact opposite of a standard jail. It was never built to lock him in. It was built to lock his enemies out. Inside the compound, the concept of a prison sentence disappeared completely. The primary suite featured a circular, rotating bed, a private waterfall, a fully stocked bar, a billiards room, and a custom jacuzzi. On his private balcony, he installed a high-powered telescope. Every evening, he would look down through the clouds at the city lights of Medellin to watch his family in their apartment miles away, coordinating with them on a contraband cellular phone. The internal security protocols were entirely under his command. The guards walking the halls were his own cartel hitmen, dressed in customized uniforms. With total control over the gates, the prison functioned seamlessly as the new corporate headquarters for the Medellin Cartel. Couriers regularly walked right through the front doors, carrying suitcases packed with millions of dollars in cash. This arrangement turned a federal prison into a secure corporate headquarters, where a global drug empire could operate under the protection of the very government trying to stop it. By July 1992, the endless parties at La Catedral gave way to extreme paranoia. Escobar's vast empire was beginning to lose money. He directed his suspicions toward two of his closest lieutenants, Fernando Galeano and Gerardo Moncada, convinced they were skimming profits from the operation. Escobar summoned both men up the mountain for a meeting. Trusting the official status of the facility, the two men walked through the military perimeter, believing the state's presence guaranteed their safety. Once they were inside the walls of the government-sanctioned penitentiary, Escobar had his own men tortured, murdered, and dismembered. The Colombian government could look the other way, while caterers delivered fresh lobster and caviar to a federal inmate, but they could not survive the international fallout of hosting an active cartel slaughterhouse. The murders stripped away the last remnants of plausible deniability. Facing total national humiliation, President Cesar Gaviria ordered an immediate military intervention to shut the facility down. On the morning of July 22, 1992, hundreds of heavily armed Special Forces soldiers mobilized and ascended the muddy road into the dense mountain fog. The soldiers breached the outer gates, secured the perimeter, and stormed the luxury suites. But when they finally reached Escobar's quarters, the room was completely empty. When Escobar originally reviewed the blueprints for La Catedral, he ordered his architects to build a secret escape route. He simply kicked out a reinforced plaster wall, walked past the heavily armed military perimeter, and disappeared into the zero-visibility mountain fog. An entire nation compromised its legal code to keep one man locked away, only to discover he was never contained at all. He was merely resting there on his own terms. Ironically, the moment Escobar walked away from his self-built prison was the beginning of his end. Without the massive protective walls of La Catedral, he was totally exposed. His empire rapidly collapsed, and he was gunned down on a Medellin rooftop 16 months later. Today, the sprawling compound is a ruin. The brick walls have been swallowed by the dense Andean jungle, and the property has been converted into a monastery. Local monks now occupy the former cartel headquarters. The billiards room operates as a chapel, and the dirt-filled jacuzzi sits quietly in the background. The story of La Catedral demonstrates that the effectiveness of a prison depends entirely on the integrity of the state that builds it. When the law is negotiated away, the walls themselves become irrelevant.